Hello there. And we are meeting way too frequently right now, folks. Way too frequently. 2 days ago was episode 229. And here we are at episode 230 because we are living through unprecedented times. I would like a few precedented times, please. I would like to stop having once in a lifetime events happen under my watch. Another person was murdered, was executed in Minneapolis yesterday. This is Sunday, January 25th. Alex Pretti, a nurse, a caretaker, a helper, a hero. I'm going to do something different this time around because, well, it seems right to honor him by going straight to Governor Walz of Minnesota's statement, my governor, rather than try to summarize. It seems only appropriate to
Thanks, everybody, for joining.
go to his statement myself.
Joining us again. We're now about 24 hours from the killing of Alex. And during that time of everything that's happened, I hope everyone's taking away a picture of a life of generosity, service-oriented, and his life's coming into clear focus. I had the privilege of talking with Michael and Susan, Alex's parents, yesterday, and the heartache in the hours after your son's murdered in front of the world is one thing, but what stood out to me was a parent's desire and their passion to make sure that the story of Alex was told. Someone who went to work to care for veterans, someone who was a valued coworker, someone who relished and lived in this state in a big way, whether it was outdoor activities or being down there on the street as a First Amendment witness to what ICE is doing to this state. So once again, to Michael and Susan, when I talk to these parents, it's always in deep confidential conversation. In this one, though, Michael was very clear to me. He said, don't let them forget Alex's story. The world knows how he died. He died at the hands of ICE agents on the streets of Minneapolis. They want us to make sure we said how he lived. So to Michael and Susan, our deepest sympathies, but you have my commitment to continue to tell that story. So now we've got 2 Minnesotans dead. We didn't had time to start telling Renee's story of a poet and a mother and a bright spirit, and now we're telling Alex's story. So my question is, what's the plan, Donald Trump? What is the plan? What do we need to do to get these federal agents out of our state? You thought fear, violence, and chaos is what you wanted from us, and you clearly underestimated the people of this state and nation. We are tired, but we're resolved. We're peaceful, but we'll never forget. We're angry, but we won't give up hope. And above all else, we are clearly unified. If it was the intention of Donald Trump to make an example of Minnesota, then I'm damn proud of the example that the world's seeing. We believe in law and order in this state. We believe in peace. And we believe that Donald Trump needs to pull these 3,000 untrained agents out of Minnesota before they kill another person. And we're up here telling another story of a Minnesotan just trying to live their life without the interference. To Americans who are watching this right now, and I don't know, maybe you're watching it with curiosity, bewilderment, horror, Scorn or sympathy? I've got a question for all of you. What side do you want to be on? The side of an all-powerful federal government that can kill, injure, menace, and kidnap its citizens off the streets? Or on the side of a nurse at the VA hospital who died bearing witness to such government? Or the side of a mother whose last words were, "I'm not mad at you"? The side of tens of thousands of peaceful citizens who showed up to march when the wind chill was 40 below because they love this state and they love this country. You're allowed to decide at any point that you're not with this anymore. If you voted for this administration, heck, even if you thought Operation Metro Surge was a good idea, sounded like the thing to do a month ago, you're still allowed to look at what's happening here in Minnesota and say, this isn't what I voted for and this isn't what I want. I ask you not to stand by idly. Speak out, share what you're seeing, and urge others to put politics aside. We're no longer having a political debate. We're having a moral debate. We all want secure borders and immigration enforcement that prioritizes criminals. And I want to thank the press, especially the local press, who has done a deep dive to show that's exactly what Minnesota does. But what you're seeing is not common sense, lawful, or humane enforcement. That's not what this occupation is about. Let me say our conversation should not be about, and I know we get asked of what we're doing on there, how many state patrol or police or National Guard I can put on the street. This isn't about how many people I can put on the street. It's about how many of these people, these ICE agents and whoever else was thrown into this unholy mess, how many Donald Trump can get out of here. Minnesotans, you've won the hearts and minds of people across this country, and you've done it through your peaceful, resolved defense of your neighbors and the Constitution. So once again, Minnesotans, stay peaceful, stay safe. Change is coming, and we can feel it. Thanks, everybody, for...
Governor Walz, about 6 hours ago. I'm recording this at 9:40 p.m. So about 4 o'clock, 3:30, Governor Walz spoke. We need to remember Alex. It's time to remember Alex. Before joining the National Guard or Veterans Administration, he was a medical researcher to help treat cancer. Some of his work is published in medical journals. Let that sink in. Just let that sink in. This was Alex Pretti. If you're not watching the video portion, I have up a set of pictures of him right now, because this is who he was. A nurse and an outdoorsman and a hero. He died defending somebody else getting pepper sprayed. Meanwhile, the Trump administration wants to try to call him a domestic terrorist. Watch for the helpers. Alex Pretti was a helper, a protector. You are being told to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. George Orwell's 1984 is being lived through right now in 2026. Good was not a domestic terrorist. She was turning the wheel away. This is no longer a question of politics. This is a question of morality. Who are you going to stand with? Governor Walz even said that. This is not a question of politics, it's a question of morality, or something similar. It is okay to be wrong. Because I'm a geek, I'm a nerd. Let's just lean into Star Trek. And a quote from Star Trek The Next Generation's movie Insurrection. How many people does it take before it becomes wrong? 1,000, 50,000, a million? How many people does it take? We have lost 2 citizens who were peacefully observing. We have lost countless human beings in ICE custody. A 5-year-old was kidnapped by ICE, used as bait. We can't believe what Vance was claiming. This hits home as hard as it does for me because my mother and my children look at Alex and see me and think of me. My daughter has even gone so far as to say, "You don't look white enough." I mean, the lighting in here is probably bleaching me out. I don't know. I remember as a child um, being cast in Annie Get Your Gun, and the director even said, "Hey, get that kid that um, used my last name. Get that kid. He looks like an Indian." It was the early '90s, so we'll forgive the ignorance that kind of a statement makes. But that director knew that the star, the lady that was playing Annie, had worked with me because she directed the children's theater um, workshop. So she'd be able to reach out to me. She'd be able to contact me. In the United States of America, we are supposed to be one of the greatest countries in the world, one of the moral leaders, even if our history is such that we have definitely screwed up in the past. The goal is to always be better, to learn from our mistakes. And the mistake right now is empowering ICE to terrorize the citizens of Minnesota and of the country. So I hear they're already headed to Maine next, it sounds like. No, we also have reports. I haven't done the research to confirm, but I mean, here it is on one particular random website. The Attorney General Bondi demands access to Minnesota voter rolls after the fatal Border Patrol shooting. This is news from yesterday. CBS News is reporting it as well. So I think this is pretty accurate. So a 3-page letter, Bondi urged state of Minnesota to scrap all sanctuary policies and cooperate fully with ICE, including giving the agency access to all local jails and honoring federal agents' requests to detain people. Bondi's asking for Minnesota to roll over and play dead, to disrespect the Fourth Amendment, the First Amendment, This isn't anti-law enforcement rhetoric. This is common decency. This is constitutional following. The Minnesota Secretary of State very politely simply said no. He's also quoted as saying it's an outrageous attempt to coerce Minnesota into giving the federal government private data on millions of U.S. citizens in violation of state and federal law, because this current administration doesn't care about law and order at all. States are supposed to be in charge of elections. That's just how it goes. So, speaking of, let's find that post. There's the White House. It was posted by the White House, a picture supposedly of Alex Pretti's gun. Here we go, right? So this is straight off of X.com, White House. Let's just grab that picture real fast. This was posted January 24th. Search by image, however. Let's keep scrolling down a bit because this picture is, of course, going to be all over the place. Because one of the comments I'd seen is how this picture supposedly is fake. So let's keep scrolling down a bit. Lots of it floating out there. One day. Wait a minute. 2 years ago? That's not from 2 years ago. Google Images search. Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking that we can probably debunk the claim that this was a post from somewhere else prior. 3 days ago? That seems questionable. Let's see here. Where is it, guys? I know this is riveting, especially if you're listening on the audio version. Oh, that one's missing. Interesting. Because a 3 days ago post wouldn't matter. But what matters here the most is that the Second Amendment fallacy. The expectation that a good guy with a gun exists and will defend others in a time of need. The federal government, ICE specifically, just executed said good guy with a gun. All of the footage shows that the only thing he was brandishing at the time, contrary to what the federal government has been saying, is a camera. And this same ICE individual has gone on to CNN, for example, and cannot justify the murder at all, claiming that the ICE agents were somehow the victims. Yes, because a gang of individuals pinning down one man who was attempting to shield a woman from pepper spray getting thrown to the ground and a magazine unloaded into his back. They're somehow the victims. Believe your eyes, my friends, not their lies. I shouldn't have to worry when driving around in Minneapolis that I'm going to be next. And that's the end of it. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I want to close with something a little more fun, a little lighter, because the National Guard has been deployed in Minneapolis. Neighbors, no masks, no hiding identities, and just positive feelings.
I got some coffee, donuts, hot chocolate.
What are you guys giving out?
Coffee, donuts, hot chocolate.
And you're with the Minnesota National
Yeah,
Guard?
we are. Yes, we are.
Why was this important for you guys to do today?
It's a demonstration of safety and security. We're here to help.
We're here to help. So the Minnesota National Guard is being very Minnesota. Protesters outside the federal Whipple building there in Minneapolis are getting coffee and donuts and hot chocolate. That's pretty dang neat, because those National Guard members are our neighbors, and they're respecting us just as much as, and therefore they'll get the respect of everyone else. And that's something that the federal government in all of this mess has forgotten. You get what you give. And all we have gotten from the Trump administration is disrespect, is murder. I'm Flame Flash. My words are my own. Minnesota is my home. Freedom and autonomy are the rights of all sentient beings. Stay safe out there, my friends. We will continue to fight peacefully to resolve this, to wait and watch for justice. The Senate, for example, has already said they're not going, or at least the Senate Democrats, they're attempting to grow a spine. We'll see if they actually do. And hopefully, this time around, in the next week to come, I can sit back and relax and game and not show back up here for a week. Stay safe.